Welcome back to another episode of the Offer Mojo Show, where we talk all about crafting, scaling, marketing, and selling aligned and profitable offers. I don't know about you, but I have held on to offers in my business way longer than I should have. Not because they were working, not because I loved them, but because letting go felt risky, because money was still coming in, because the relationship that I had with my clients felt too valuable to disrupt. Because honestly, I wasn't sure I had permission to just stop. Let's just pause and take a deep breath together. Because today I want to talk about something that doesn't get discussed enough in the business world: retiring an offer. Not pivoting it, not rebranding it, actually deciding that it has run its course and figuring out how to close that chapter with grace. And I want to start with my own story because this one is really personal for me. Before I became an offer and marketing strategist, I was a certified online business manager. And another word for that would be an OBM. And I was really good at it, like really, really good. I helped clients manage the back end of their businesses on a retainer basis. And honestly, the clients came easily. Operations, systems, team management. I understood it intuitively and I could execute fast. The offer was popular. The income was very consistent. In my P&L, everything looked great. But two things happened in 2019 that changed everything. The first was external. California, which is where I live, passed AB 5, which is a law that significantly restricted how independent contractors could offer certain services without technically becoming an employee of the business. For me, offering OBM services the way I had been doing it had become legally complicated in a way that I actually just wasn't willing to navigate. But here's what I know after years of doing this work: the law actually gave me permission to do something I already needed to do. Because the second thing that happened in 2019 was more internal and honestly more important. I sat with the reality that even though I was very, very good at operations, it wasn't the work that really lit me up. I wasn't dreading every single day, but there was just no fire there, no real excitement when a new client signed, no energy inside me that said, this is why I do this. The work that actually energized me: strategy, offers, marketing, helping people figure out what they were really selling and why nobody was buying it yet. That was the thing that I wanted to be doing. So I made the decision to let the OBM offer go. And I want to be completely upfront. It was both scary and exhilarating at the same time. Scary because a big portion of my income came from that offer. Scary because I had built real relationships with those clients and I didn't want to damage them. And scary because I worried about what happens when you just remove something that was working. But it was also freeing because I finally had an honest reason to release something I didn't want to do anymore. That law gave me a push, but the truth is, I needed to let it go regardless. Some clients I had to release completely. Others I offered to continue working with them, but in a different capacity, marketing services only. And that transition asked me to have real conversations, honest ones, the kind where you're not hiding behind a professional email, you're actually talking to a person who trusted you. I'm going to come back to how those conversations went in a minute. But first, let me tell you what I learned from that experience and from working with clients who have faced the same crossroads. There are three signs that an offer needs to be retired: not rested, not refined, actually retired. And I want to name them clearly because most coaches and experts I work with already feel at least one of these. They just haven't had the language for it yet. Sign number one is you dread delivering it, even when your clients love it. This is a sneaky one because the external feedback is still positive. Clients are getting results, they're leaving good testimonials. Nobody is complaining. But you, on the inside, feel something closer to relief when a client finishes rather than excitement when a new one starts. That dread is information. It doesn't mean that you're ungrateful. It doesn't mean you don't want to serve your clients. It means something in you knows that this is no longer your best offering and the misalignment is starting to cost you energy that you don't have. Sign number two is your identity has evolved and you no longer feel aligned with this offer. This one is actually a little bit like quieter. It creeps in gradually. You look at your offer page and it doesn't really feel like you anymore. The work you're doing is competent, maybe even excellent, but it's not where your thinking lives now, or it's not even where your heart is. It's not the conversation you want to be having with clients. It belongs to a version of you from several years ago. I worked with a leadership coach who had built her entire business on a background in PR and marketing. She was actually exceptional at helping business owners grow. But what she actually wanted to be known for, what kept her up at night with excitement, was helping business leaders develop the confidence they needed to lead effectively. She had a big mastermind offer built around the PR and marketing work. It was her primary income. And she was terrified to let it go because it represented proof that she could sell. The mastermind was working, but every time she delivered it, some part of her was thinking, this isn't really what I'm here to do. The offer had become a cage that looked like success. I encouraged her to test the thing that she actually wanted to do, not launch it fully, just not burn down the mastermind overnight, just test it. A 6-week offer, her real passion, put in front of the right people to see what happened. She did. And just seeing it out in the world in front of the right people gave her the clarity that she needed to start the transition away from the mastermind. Sign number three is the offer doesn't fit your current business goals or the direction that you're heading. This is actually a strategic one, and it's also the one that people ignore the longest because this is where it still sells becomes the trap. Here's what I know after years of doing this work. An offer still selling is not the same as an offer being right for your business. Revenue is not proof of alignment. Sometimes the things that sell most easily are the things that are keeping you most stuck. If your offer is pulling you away from the clients that you actually want to serve, or the price point you want to work at, or the reputation that you're trying to build in the market, then its continued sales are a cost, not a benefit. Every client who signs is another month where you're not building what you actually want to build. Now, before I go into the how, I want to make one important distinction. Not every misaligned offer needs to be retired. Some offers just need a rest. A rest is very intentional. You pause it, you step away for a season, you give yourself space to see whether the offer still has a place in your business or whether the distance confirms what you already suspected. You come back to it later or you don't, but you're not closing the door permanently. Retirement is different. Retirement is a decision. It means you've looked honestly at the offer and the direction of your business, and you've concluded that this chapter is done, not paused, done. The question to ask yourself, if someone came to me tomorrow and asked to hire me for this, would I feel excited or would I feel a quiet sinking in my chest? If the answer is the sinking, that's your answer. So let's make all of this practical. And I want to talk about what I call the graceful exit. Step one is decide with clarity, not panic. Like give yourself some time to breathe and like just really think through whether or not you're actually ready to retire the offer. Then set a date. Make the decision privately first. Give it a few days to settle in. Then set an actual date for when the offer officially closes. Not sometime this year, a real date. This protects you from backsliding when things get uncomfortable, and it gives you something concrete to communicate. Step two is honor your existing clients first. Before you say anything publicly, talk to the people who are currently in your world because of this offer. They deserve to hear it from you directly. And in that conversation, you're not apologizing, you're evolving. There is a difference. When I retired my OBM offer, I had a client named Randy. He was my very first OBM client. We had become genuine friends over the years. I had even stayed at his house in Atlanta. Saying goodbye to that working relationship was the hardest part of the whole transition. But the relationship was strong enough to survive the change. Most of my clients were disappointed, but they wished me well because the relationship wasn't built on the offer. It was built on trust. And those things don't disappear when the service does. Step number three is keep your communication simple and honest. Something like, I've made the decision to retire this offer at the end of the month. It's been an incredibly important part of my business, and I'm proud of the work we did together. I'm finally moving into state your new direction, and I'm excited about what's ahead. That's it. You're not asking for permission. You're sharing a decision you've already made. And guess what? Most of your audience will respect that. People understand evolution. What they don't understand is disappearance. Step number four is redirect. Don't just remove them. Give people somewhere to go. Point them toward what you do now. Make it easy for them to stay in your world, even though the offer they originally came through is no longer available. And step number five is to let your audience see your evolution, not a disappearance. The retirement of an old offer is an opportunity to reintroduce yourself. When I transitioned into offer strategy, I was genuinely nervous. I felt flaky, but I knew I had evolved and finally landed in my true genius. So I captured that journey and decision publicly with my email list and on social media. People understand that business shifts. Now, I want to leave you with something to sit with. I want you to think about your current offer suite right now. Is there something in there that gives you that dreadful feeling when you think about delivering it? Is there something you've been holding on because it still sells, even though it no longer represents the direction you're actually heading? That feeling isn't a problem to manage. It's information that you need to pay attention to. And if you're sitting there right now thinking, okay, I think I know which offer this is, but I don't know how to figure out where the misalignment lives, that's exactly what the 6-pillar offer audit is designed for. It's a 60-minute focus session where we look honestly at your offer through 6 lenses: positioning, messaging, pricing, structure, visibility, and sales. There's no pressure, no agenda other than clarity. You will leave knowing exactly what's working, what's leaking, and what to do next. And if you want help with that, I'd love to support you. The link to book the audit is in the show notes. Here's what I want you to take away from today. Retiring an offer is not a failure. It's not a sign that you built something wrong or that you're starting over. It's just a sign that you've grown past something and that you have the clarity and the courage to honor that. The coaches and the experts who build businesses they actually love long term, they're not the ones who held on to everything. They're the ones who knew when to let go. All right, my friend, like always, please leave a review or forward this episode to a friend who might be holding on to something that no longer fits. I'll see you in the next episode.